Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm recording this on July 3rd, 2025, but by the time it comes out, it's going to be July 4th. So happy Independence Day to everyone. So today, the House of Representatives has passed Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. And this is the Senate version, which was already passed by the Senate a few days ago, and it's now headed to Trump's desk for him to sign on the 4th of July. And this is a bill, it's a huge bill, it affects a lot of things, so today I want to talk about what this bill does and how it's going to affect the 2026 midterms. I think it's going to have a big impact on the midterms, but more importantly, it's going to have a huge impact on the American people. So to talk about what's in this bill, there's a lot, and this was a reconciliation bill, which means in the Senate they did not need 60 votes to pass through the filibuster. They only needed 50 votes, and they ended up getting 51. They did end up getting 50 because 3 Senate Republicans voted against it, Rand Paul, Susan Collins, and Thom Tillis. Thom Tillis is retiring in 2026, and Susan Collins is up for re-election in the state of Maine, a state that Kamala Harris won by 7 points. So some of the stuff that's in this bill, it includes extensions of the Trump tax cuts from back in 2017. The tax cuts for the very wealthy, including billionaires, they've been made permanent. And some of the tax cuts for the working class, they have been set to expire in 2028, but these tax cuts do go into effect immediately. It does roll back clean energy programs that Biden passed, so it's going to take away tax credits for clean energy, and I believe at one point they were going to include an excise tax on clean energy sources, but I believe they removed that from the bill. It has a huge budget increase for ICE. The ICE budget is currently around $10 billion. This bill would increase the ICE budget to, I believe, $175 billion or something crazy like that. And then this does severely increase the national debt by $3 to $5 trillion. It hugely increases the deficit. Keep in mind, the Republicans, they always run on reducing the deficit, reducing the national debt. This bill does the exact opposite of that. And additionally, this bill does have huge cuts to Medicaid. It's estimated, I've seen from some sources, that it's estimated up to 17 million Americans will lose access to Medicaid. And these Medicaid cuts are scheduled to go into effect on December 31st, 2026. So the Medicaid cuts do go into effect after the midterms. However, there will be Medicare cuts as well, and that's because when the deficit is over a certain percentage of the GDP, you legally have to decrease Medicare funding. And this bill does significantly increase the deficit, so Medicare's budget will decrease, and those Medicare budget cuts are going to go into effect immediately. Speaking more on those Medicaid cuts, this is going to cause for rural hospitals to also lose funding, and those effects will come a lot quicker than December of 2026. So you're going to see some of these effects pretty soon. And again, there are a lot of spending cuts and a lot of tax cuts too, which result in an increased deficit and increased national debt. And most of those tax cuts do go to the very wealthy. And another thing I wanted to mention is that there is no tax on tips, and there is no tax on overtime, but those are capped at $25,000 and $12,500 respectively, and that's if you file your taxes jointly. And the Trump administration, especially Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, they've been claiming that there is no tax on Social Security in this bill. That is not true. This bill does not include a removal of an income tax on Social Security. So that part is false. Now, something else that, or really the next part of what I wanted to talk about was how is this bill going to affect the 2026 midterms? Because for the average person, this is going to deeply hurt them. And it doesn't matter if you voted for Donald Trump. It doesn't matter if you voted for Kamala Harris. It does not matter if you voted third party or if you didn't vote at all. This bill, it doesn't care who you voted for. It will affect you. And it's going to affect a lot of Trump voters and a lot of swing voters, especially. And it will affect a lot of red states. So I think ultimately this is definitely going to help the Democrats, especially if they can message well on this bill. And an example of how this can hurt the Republicans in the midterms is I want to talk was Obamacare. Really, in 2008, Obama won in a landslide, but in 2010, House Republicans overwhelmingly retook the House of Representatives. If we take a look here, in 2008, the Democrats won 257 seats, Republicans won 178, but in 2010, the Republicans won 242, the Democrats only 193. I mean, look here at 2008, and then when I switched to 2010, look at all that new red. The Republicans flipped 64 seats in the House in the 2010 midterms. Why? Because when Obamacare was initially signed into law in 2010, it was unpopular. Now today it's pretty popular, and if you try to repeal it like how the Republicans tried in 2017, you would face a lot of backlash. But when it was initially signed into law by Obama in 2010, it was very unpopular. There was a poll done by Quinnipiac University back in 2009 where 44% of voters opposed Obamacare and only 40% backed it. Quinnipiac, they did a poll on the Big Beautiful Bill as well, and the delta is even bigger on the Big Beautiful Bill. 55% of voters oppose it and only 29% back it. What does that tell us? I mean, that is a negative 26 point. This bill is negative 26 points underwater. It's hugely unpopular, way more unpopular than Obamacare ever was. And even among Republican voters, only 67% of Republican voters support Trump's signature bill. This is a hugely unpopular bill, and when people start feeling the effects of it, I think it's going to become even more unpopular. I don't think this is going to be like Obamacare where gradually it becomes popular. I think it's going to be the exact opposite. And even if you don't trust Quinnipiac's poll, take a look at this Fox News poll. 38% approve of this bill, 59% disapprove. That is it's down by negative 21 points. That's insane for the Republicans. It's horrible. People simply don't like this bill. It's overwhelmingly unpopular. And if the Democrats capitalize on this, they can run on this issue on the midterms. And if they drive this home, we could see a very big blue wave. And today, Mike Johnson came out and he said, not only are the Republicans going to do this one big beautiful bill, reconciliation bill, they're going to do another reconciliation bill in the fall, and then they're going to do a third one in spring of 2026. That's 3 potential reconciliation bills before the midterms. And if the next 2 are as consequential as this one, we could be in for a huge blue wave. Now, I don't think the Democrats are going to flip 64 seats in the House like how the Republicans did back in 2010, but we could definitely see the Democrats flipping 20 maybe even 30 House seats in an especially good environment. And in the Senate, the Democrats would win at least 49 seats. If this were to be the case, they would win if we go to the 2020 map, they would flip North Carolina, they would flip Maine, And if the national environment goes to the Democrats by 8 or 10 points, they could potentially flip Texas, Iowa, or even Alaska. But that's a very extremely best case scenario. But the main point here is this bill, it's going to hurt a lot of Americans. It's already very unpopular, and I imagine it's only going to get even more unpopular. This bill is going to spell doom for the Republicans in the 2026 midterms. So if you did enjoy, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss a future upload. Please feel free to drop suggestions in the comments section on any future videos that you'd like for me to upload, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.